Radosevich, George Stoia here. Welcome back to the Soonerscoop.com YouTube page. We're out of the studio, obviously, out onto the field. Red wins the red-white spring game, 65-58, a game that was highlighted by a bunch of guys that I think that we wanted to see perform today, George. Yep. Let's start where probably everybody wants to talk about, or at least there's going to be a lot of people interested in how the quarterbacks played. What did you think of Jackson Arnold's day? It was kind of an up-and-down day, I would say, but it's pretty obvious. Deion Burke's pretty damn good. I
thought Jackson was sharp. I mean, he had, a couple passes here and there that were maybe a tad high or a yard overthrown. I think of the first one to Jaden Gibson, which looked like Jaden Gibson may have just lost the ball there because it was in a good spot. And then there was one a little.
Must have been the sun on a sunnyless day.
Yeah, I know. And then Deion Burks had one deep too. But, the story of the day is Deion Burks. I thought that it was very clear that Jackson has a connection with him, and it's easy to see why. The guy's wide open. I mean, and that's not because the secondary was terrible or anything like that, but I think he's just faster than everybody on the field. And so I thought he was really impressive today, and he's a guy that you look into next year, I think he's going to be their most explosive, dynamic playmaker.
It's interesting that, he's talked about Deion has so much about kind of stepping into that role that Drake Stoops leaves in the slot. A little bit of different, obviously different. As good as Drake was, he can bust it over the top a little bit more than maybe they did a year ago.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you saw in today's offense and what Seth Luttrell wants to do, they're going to throw it deep. And, I think that when you have a guy like that you can play in the slot that can beat anybody and cause mismatches, you're gonna run him deep. And so I think you're going to see a lot of that in the offense. I think you're also going to see him do some stuff horizontally where you've got him running some jet sweeps, maybe some wide receiver screens. I thought that he was really impressive in those areas too. So they're going to get him the football a lot, and it's because he's so dynamic. And what's crazy, Eddie, is that we didn't even see – there's no Nick Anderson out there today. Obviously, Jalil Farouk is hurt right now. Jaden Gibson was he made some nice plays here and there, but wasn't a huge factor. So there's a lot more guys. Bauer Sharp, I don't think had a catch today. Our guy. But I think that they've got quite a few playmakers on offense.
No Andrell Anthony as well today. So they're going to get them back going here during the spring, or during the summer, rather, as they, spring football now obviously over. George, let's talk about the offensive line, because I think that you walk away from today, and at least for me, being down on the field and looking how things went, seemed like it was a lot better than what they had been. I know that we had talked about over the last couple of weeks, the last week and a half, that thing had really started to come together with Jacob Sexton at left guard. Just kind of your thoughts on an offensive line that's obviously going to be the talk of, I think, the offseason here moving forward. What do they do in the portal? All that kind of stuff.
They performed well. I mean, I think that when we talk about the way we were talking about the offensive line a week or two ago and really all spring, I think that they performed extremely well today. I thought Michael Tarquin was really good at left tackle. Jacob Sexton, like you mentioned, playing some left guard. I thought he was impressive. Josh Bates was really good today. Fabici Wiwu, I thought he was really good. He's been good all spring. Jake Taylor, too, at right tackle. I think that starting offensive line group did a really good job. They gave up a couple sacks here and there. That's going to happen. I thought a couple times maybe Jackson held onto the ball a little too long. And I think that defensive line is going to be pretty good. So, I think that the offensive line, all things considered, were really good today.
Let's stick there on the defensive line. I thought that, there's probably three guys that really kind of popped to me. Devon Sears, you had P.J. Adebore as well, making a lot of plays, and Grayson Holton made a lot of plays. And two of those guys, in Holton and Sears, we've talked a lot about them in the interior of the defensive line, things that they're going to need to do. Obviously, they had a couple visitors in town today, but what did you think about just the performance from the defensive line, and then we'll get into the defense overall?
I thought Grayson Holton was really somebody that stuck out today. I think that he was somebody that played really well. I thought that, Devon Sears was really interesting to hear from Brent Venables after the game, said he's the most improved player they had on the defensive line up front. He had a sack today. P.J. Adebore, we were talking, I wouldn't say we weren't talking shit on him, but we were like, where is he? A few weeks ago, I think he had like 3 sacks today.
I asked Danny Stutzman about him afterwards, and he basically said, he had fought through some stuff early on in the spring. I think that you saw that light click on. I don't know if it was a coincidence after we talked about him on the Unofficial 40, but he did have a really good day today, and especially when it counts, when you're in front of people, on TV, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. Ethan Downs, I think, has improved, and he's a guy that we don't talk a lot about because you just know what you're getting in him, but he was really good today, especially early. I mean, he was all over the field. R. Mason Thomas looked really good today off the edge, really quick. You like what you got on the defensive line. If you can add one or two more pieces. We know there was a couple guys here today visiting Dominic Williams and obviously Jermaine Lowell from Louisville, but I think you have to like what you saw from the defensive line today.
What'd you think about the two guys that we had given a lot of hype into kind of coming into the spring? Obviously, they've performed well, but Samuel Mosigo, Lewis Carter, both of those guys seem to fare really well today.
Lewis Carter was all over the field, and you won't always see him, but he's definitely a guy that's making some plays. He started at Will linebacker today next to Danny Stutzman, and I think it's just a sign that he's a guy that they're going to expect to contribute next year. We'll see if he ends up starting over a guy like Kip Lewis, but I think he's definitely going to see the field. Samuel Mosigo played a lot of cheetah today. He also played some inside linebacker. I thought he was really dynamic. Didn't make a lot of wow plays, but I don't think a lot of wow plays came his way either. So both those guys, I think, are going to find themselves onto the field. And Justin Harrington's going to enter the transfer portal. We found that out.
I was going to say, do you think that Omosigo's emergence at the cheetah position and maybe just the sheer depth that they have? Listen, Justin Harrington wants to get onto the field. It was probably not going to be at Oklahoma because of the other guys that have performed throughout the spring.
Definitely. And I think it's not only Omosigo, but you love Kendall Dolby. He was the starting cheetah today, and he's more of a cover guy, but he can do some different things, and you can blitz him off the edge. But you also love Samuel Omosigo, his ability to do different things. Deshaun McCullough, I think, is still going to play some cheetah. He was playing some inside linebacker today. I think you could pop out a Lewis Carter or a Kip Lewis outside there, too, and play some cheetah. So I think they just feel like they have so many other guys. And when you talk about Justin Harrington, you love the kid. He's awesome, good player, but he's dealt with several ACL injuries now. He can't stay on the field. And when you look at some of these young guys, it's time to get those guys on the field. And I think that was the result of Harrington going in the portal.
It's just kind of the reality of the situation. And, for this circumstance, it seems like that's why the transfer portal is in place. Brent Venables, after the game, did talk about his quarterback position. Seems like the depth, that was kind of like one of the biggest questions for me coming in was, is that real? Is there good depth there when you get by Woody Washington, Gentry Williams? I thought Kenai Walker played really well today.
I think Kenai Walker might start. He was really good today. I think Des Malone was really good today. He's a guy that, again, you didn't hear a ton of him today, and that's because they weren't really throwing the ball his way, and that's a good thing when you're a corner. He made a couple plays, but he's also back there on punt return, which I thought was interesting. Him and Peyton Bowen were the two punt returners today, but definitely two dynamic players. You like Bakari Vickers was out there quite a bit, so Jacoby Johnson got a lot of reps today too. So you've got a ton of depth back there, and like you said, Woody Washington and Gentry Williams might be your two best corners. They didn't even play today.
Two guys that I don't necessarily think they're going to be guys that you look at that are going to be safeties next year because of the depth at safety, but Michael Boganowski as well as Jaden Hardy, they both certainly look the part.
Man, I'd even throw Reggie Powers into that group.
Yeah.
Reggie Powers was really good today too, but Michael Boganowski had the hit of the day. I mean, he damn near knocked out Bauer Sharp, which you're probably like, okay, man, don't hit him too hard. Yeah. But you love to see that from a freshman, right? I mean, he's a physical player. I thought Jaden Hardy was really good today too. Those are guys, those three safeties, Michael Boganowski, Jaden Hardy, Reggie Powers. You wonder, how do they get those guys on the field? Because you love Peyton Bowen, you love Robert Spears-Jennings. You're going to get Billy Bowman back, obviously, this summer and into the season next year. But I think that those other three true freshmen, do you find a way to get them in the rotation? Maybe they can play some cheetah. Maybe they're guys that you can find a role for them on the field. Maybe you run more 6 defensive backs or something like that. I don't know, but those three guys, you've got to love the future of that position because they're hard hitters. They see the ball well. I think that they're very instinctual guys, and so that room, again, we talk about that on all levels of the defense. It's just night and day from where it was.
Couple more items to get through. It kind of seems like he can't play football at Oklahoma without a little bit of controversy. I don't even know if it's controversy, but we didn't see Javonte Barnes today. Brent Venables after the game basically said they wanted to just see some other guys. Maybe is that a situation they know what they have? They know what they saw this spring with Javonte? Or is there like you go into an offseason where there's more questions about the running back position?
I have no idea. Like I want to sit here and tell you that I believe Brent Venables when he says that, but like Gavin Sawchuk played quite a bit today.
Yeah.
And you know what you have in Gavin Sawchuk.
Right.
If any of the guys that you know what you have, you know what you got in Gavin Sawchuk. So you would have thought that you would like to see Javonte Barnes come out here, show some explosiveness, show that his foot's doing better. But we didn't see him. So it makes you wonder, is he a guy that is not healthy again? Is he a guy that maybe he's considering the transfer portal? I have no idea. That's speculation, but it just makes you scratch your head. And you like what you saw, though, from the running back room today. I thought Gavin Sawchuk, ran the ball well. I thought Caleb Hicks maybe looked like their best running back today. He was patient, saw the hole, was explosive. I think that Samuel Franklin did some really nice things today, too. So I think that they like what they have in that running back room. It's just odd that Javonte Barnes once again was missing.
Let's keep it here. One more item to get into, and I think it's a little bit of an uncomfortable item because Tyler Keltner did miss a field goal today, which sucks because I was talking to one of the people that is with the team when he missed it. He's like, that sucks because he's been so damn good. Both he and Zach Schmidt have been nails throughout the spring, and then get everybody out here, everybody's watching, and Keltner does miss a field goal today. Overall, though, it seems like that position is in a comfortable spot going into the offseason.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's like I was like the perfect opportunity today for Tyler Keltner to really, I don't know about take a lead in that competition. I don't really know where it's at, but like you definitely feel really good about it if he goes in there and nails that field goal. Misses it. Zach Schmidt, I think, made one from 29. Was there any other field goals?
I think that was it. Yeah. Extra points and all that kind of stuff.
I wish they would have, done more kicking today. Like I've joked about having a kicking competition at halftime, but I do think it would have been somewhat beneficial to kick some more field goals today, at least in a live game setting type thing. So I don't know what to make of the kicking situation. Maybe that is a spot. The right kicker comes along in the transfer portal. Maybe you take a look at him. We didn't see Liam Evans today. It does feel like it's maybe turning into more of a two-man race with Schmidt and Keltner.
He kicked a couple extra points, but it was not that big of a deal.
Right, and he did some kickoffs as well, I think. But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's just
I'm right there with you. Like you
love
can't
to hear about it in practice, right? Like you said, I've heard the same thing that they've been awesome in practice, but man, it just sucks.
You got to knock it down.
Yeah, you got to knock it down in the spring game, and it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't out here, but it didn't seem like it was too windy. Like it wasn't like he was fighting a lot of elements. So I don't know, man.
It's a weird conversation to be had. A overall really good performance. Obviously, Deion Burks, Mike Houck passed along a note. 5 receptions, 174 yards, all in the first half for Deion Burks. Not bad, and a couple touchdowns.
64-yarder on the fourth play of the game, and then the one I think in the second quarter, 50 yards down the field. And they were both great passes too from Jackson Arnold. But he was wide open. I mean, he was, and I don't think. I mean, maybe one of them was a coverage bust, but I think the other one was he just beat everybody down the field.
Yeah. As we predicted, Oklahoma wins the spring game 65-58. Really ended up being a really nice day in Norman, Oklahoma, as they had to move it back because of a little bit of weather this morning. But all in all, a good ending to the spring. Real quick, one more question. What is kind of your biggest takeaway from the spring, and then maybe the biggest thing moving forward for this team as they now enter an off season? Obviously, the transfer portal stuff is something that we're going to keep a close eye on here over the next couple weeks. They had a couple guys in today. Sounds really good with Branson Hickman. Just kind of your overall kind of closing thought on what was Oklahoma's spring practice.
I think that you still, as good as the offensive line played today at times, you still need a couple more bodies there. I think that you need some depth because you definitely saw it across that second offensive line. They struggle at times. They don't really have a whole lot of depth at center. I know Brent said after the game that he loves the improvement that Josh Bates made, but I don't know if he's there yet ready to be the starting center for this group. So if you can get a Branson Hickman, the SMU center, to jump in the boat, I think that would be huge. And then I think on the other side, the defensive line was really good today. You like a lot of those young guys, but you could use one more big guy. I thought one of the interesting notes was Brent telling us that David Stone and Jaden Jackson both over 300 pounds as of Friday. That's huge news. You want to get multiple 300-pound guys. If you can go get a Dominic Williams or a Jermaine Lowell in the transfer portal, I think that's huge. But, Eddie, I think this is the thing. They showed a lot of things today that make you think, hey, they can win a lot of football games. Jackson Arnold and Deion Burks can kind of be a dynamic duo. You add Nick Anderson to that group. Maybe you get Andrew Anthony back, Jalil Farouk. This could be a really dynamic offense. And I still feel really good about the defense, too. We didn't see a lot of – Billy Bowman might be their best player, didn't play today. Danny Stutzman, I think, only played maybe one series. So DJ Terry, their best defensive lineman, didn't play today. So I think they got a chance to be pretty good. I think they just need a few more pieces that could maybe put them over the top from being – an 8-win football team to maybe you're winning 10 games. Now
the fun kind of begins as Oklahoma makes the move beginning of July 1 into the SEC. Yep. I know that they announced it today that they're going to have some type of celebration. Paul Feinbaum was in town. Did you talk to our good friend Paul?
I didn't see him. Did you see him?
I never saw him.
Yeah.
Maybe he got out of here before the game started.
Well, he's real skinny and kind of smaller than you would anticipate. Maybe we just didn't see him. But
Sure.
I heard that he's going to be on campus July 1st for a big whatever they're doing, launch party or whatever.
It'd be very disappointing if one of us two didn't get on the Paul Feinbaum set.
Well, I think you need to get on there. I think you need to also be a weekly caller. Also, shout out to our good friend Barb from BA. I think she needs to be a caller, a weekly caller from Oklahoma. Because, every school kind of has that crazy fan caller to call in. I think I know Barb's watching this too. I think she needs to be Boomer Barb from BA calling in.
We would love that. For George Stoia, I'm Eddie Radosevich from the Oklahoma Spring Game. We'll catch you at the beginning of next week. We'll kind of break down everything that was and certainly keeping an eye on everything that is happening in the portal for Oklahoma. We'll see you next time.